with Maciej, who is the Managing Director of Pay You Group.
Yes.
Maciej, can you just explain to the audience exactly what you do?
It's a lot what I do, but in general, I'm responsible for payments, reconciliation with our customers. I'm looking for the risk and security of our transactions, as well as I am responsible for the card payments, especially now in Polish market. We have the acquiring license from Visa and MasterCard, and we provide services for these authorizations as well.
Now, I know you've got a huge amount of experience. You're in charge of retail clients product development of BZWBK Bank, which is currently part of the Santander Group.
Yes.
And there you're head of e-commerce and electronic payments department, so you're in charge of the electronic market, payment cards and ATM networks, and I think 19 years in retail banking, so
that's correct.
I think you're fairly experienced, it's safe to say.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Well, welcome to you.
They say grey head, yeah?
And then we've got Aleksander, and how do you pronounce the surname?
Naganowski.
It sounds a bit Japanese, doesn't it, actually? Is there any Japanese in you at all?
Nagano, yeah, maybe.
Maybe, okay.
Yeah.
And you're the business
Still, it's a
leader
Polish name, yeah.
within business development at MasterCard. And just give us an idea of your type of duties and responsibilities involved.
Business development is everything which is innovative, which is the new areas where we grow and where we develop payments. And in fact, my major focus is on mobile payments, which is both payments when you purchase on the phone and when you purchase with the phone, means you go to a store and you tap your phone, and this is where you can use PayPass. So this is what we introduced into Polish market.
And you were formerly with France Telecom. Is it Polkometel? How would you pronounce that?
No, France Telecom is Telekomunikacja Polska, and Polkomtel is in fact their competitor, but I worked for both.
Yes.
So it was mobile operator, and before it was fixed operator. So I'm in fact an engineer. So I started
forgive you for that.
building. Yeah. I understand some people can't understand that. Still.
We need more engineers. It's safe to say, isn't it? Okay. Robert Midura. Robert, tell us about you.
Yeah, at Alior Bank I am responsible for entire operations and logistics. And in daughter's company called Alior Raty and Alior Bank, I am responsible for consumer finance.
Okay, and again, huge amount of experience as well. You've been with a member of the Payment System Council at the NBH, that's from 2007. I mean, what does the council do?
In fact, the council, the major role of the council is how to avoid the cash payments in real life. The results of their activities, as you can see, to some extent increase of usage of credit cards, increase of payments in internet banking, and other areas like more or less coming soon on the Polish market mobile payments.
Yes, okay, and well, welcome to you. And we've got Paweł. I'm going to try and pronounce your surname. So unfortunately, I didn't study Polish at school, so here we go. Paweł, hang on, I'm going, Widawski?
Almost perfect.
But almost not. You're being polite now, aren't you? Do correct me. I know you're an expert in the field of payment systems and legal regulations of payments, board advisor and is a SEPA program manager at the Polish Bank Association. So again, just give us an impression of what you do.
I'm a lawyer, but I'm in love with payments. I'm board advisor, so I advise my employer in the field of payments, and I'm responsible for relation with government, regulators, European Commission, and I also represent my organization at European Payments Council within the standardization process.
Okay, so you sound like you've got quite a busy remit there with many stakeholders involved. Still smiling, that's good to see. Okay. I want to start with you, Aleksander. Just look at the advantages of electronic and mobile payment systems. I don't want to dwell on the disadvantages too much. I mean, I've used to online payments for many, many years, and quite frankly, you know, nothing's 100% safe. I could walk across the road and get robbed of my money.
Exactly.
It's a fact of life, isn't it? But just want to find out, what do you think are the real advantages? Because obviously there's people in this region that are not taking that leap into using online payments, both mobile and electronic.
Well, I think that Polish are especially already very well inside the situation of electronic payments, of mobile payments. We already know why we use it. And we use it because it's very safe. still it is very safe. It's much safer when if I lose my cash. It's very fast and it's very convenient. You don't need to carry all the cash, all your wallets and everything. So today, still, well, I use mobile, I use cards, so even when I'm here, I have something to be able to pay with, and I have my phone, right? So these are both things that I need to carry just to live.
Yeah.
So the next step is I only use my phone, and this is where we are targeting, and this is what is already happening in Poland. So it's not a question why, because I think that everyone knows why. I mean, it's so practical, and we like buying everything remotely. We like buying everything on our mobiles because we forgot to buy something. So some people possibly are already buying now something because they forgot to, you know. So I'd like to be able to buy bread because I forgot about buying bread or the pizza or the, you know, railway train tickets. This is why we like mobile, and this is why we like e-commerce. And I don't think we need to explain that. It's more when. And the good news is that's already now in Poland.
Absolutely. For some people, they've embraced it completely. My only fear is if my batteries run out on my phone and I've got nothing else to pay, if I've completely abandoned all other forms.
That's a possibly weak point in the whole system.
I know, okay, I sit corrected then.
The major weak point is, in general, it's electricity in all our systems and in all our solutions, but still I don't think we have this problem so often. And still there are, well, I think this is the major focus now to develop mobiles that will have more extended power sources. But still there are also solutions even to pay without the battery, even, well, really full at being able to power the phone. You're still able to pay if you want to tap. So there are some ideas how to overcome even this issue.
Okay, so let's have a look how advanced the Central Eastern Europe region is at the moment with online payments today. What works well and what needs to be adjusted? Who wants to take that one? Who'd like to go first?
Maybe I start talking about the internet payments because I guess this is the area which is really very well developed, and of course there are a lot of things to be done, but nevertheless at the moment on the Polish market such payment solutions like pay to email, pay by Facebook, or even online installments exists. What is giving us the leading role in Central Eastern Europe as far as online payments is concerned.
So what do you think is working well today and what needs to be adjusted?
I must say that Polish market is in some stage unique, because we at the moment
It's
unique.
Unique.
Unique,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
In terms of payment methods, because we have got our card payment markets quite well established and developed. But in parallel to this, on the internet payments, we have got so-called pay by links. It's electronic money transfer used, and from our statistic, we see that almost 90% of the payments are done not by cards, but exactly by pay by links. So, and this is the convenience, this is the security for the customers, because they do just the money transfer directly from the banking account in the online, during the online shopping.
Paweł?
What was the question?
Oh. Have you been here with us at all?
So
What's working well today and what needs to be adjusted?
What's working well and what's not working well, right?
Yes.
Well, maybe I should refer to regulations because, in my opinion, regulations don't work well. Actually, this whole market, payments market, not only here in Poland but across Europe, is over-regulated. So it means that on the one hand, it's very secure for customers, especially in case when the bank is payment services provider. But on the other hand, this over-regulation hinder innovation. And if you want to launch a payment startup, think twice, because the barriers to enter the market are very, very high. And even if you provide e-commerce service, sometimes from the point of view of the regulator, it may be treated as a payment service.
So it's too over-regulated at the moment.
It's too over-regulated.
And is that something you have discussions with when you're talking to the regulators? Is there any chance that that will be softened? What kind of proposals are you suggesting to soften the regulation?
Well, actually, we should address this to European Commission because 99% of new regulations we import from Brussels.
Okay.
And the civil servants of European Commission work very hard to add new regulations. So actually, they consider how to regulate more than how to regulate less. Even virtual currency, which is actually a payment service, and like Facebook, generate half of its revenues from payments, from virtual currency. European Commission consider to regulate this field of business activity. So,
but that's always an accusation against all regulations, isn't it? It doesn't matter what industry you're in. All entrepreneurs say it's too regulated, it's over-regulated. Is there not a danger, though, if you soften up too much, then you weaken the system, and that it's the trust, really, that they're concerned about, which can damage e-commerce in general? So it's a fine balance, isn't it?
Of course, the regulation should be proper, not too soft, because the payment as a product is based on trust. Sometimes we don't love banks, but we trust banks.
Well, suddenly, being a journalist, you're much more popular than being a banker, where I come from, so...
Yes, that's why the regulation should secure us as a payment service users. And it's a good idea to use payment products from banks.
Okay, Robert, did you want to say something?
Yeah, because maybe we are to some extent over-regulated on the one hand, but on the other hand, there are a lot of innovations as far as payments is concerned on the Polish market. And Maciej said about Pay by Link, and for instance, we introduced the product together with Allegro Group and PayU, using the Pay by Link for the customer's verification, and the entire credit loan process takes us about 1 minute 30 seconds to the cash is being disbursed. So even those over-regulations is not preserving us and stopping us to implement new products and new solutions.
So you're saying that's too slow, 1 minute 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Aleksander, can I bring you in? Obviously coming from MasterCard, you've probably got a fair idea how MasterCard in this region is doing against the rest of the world. I'd imagine that forms part of your meeting when you're reviewing and deciding where to pitch yourself against the rest of the world. So where is this region in comparison to Europe and the US when we're talking about electronic and mobile payments?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and very nice question to be answered here, because we are really leading the markets. It's not only Europe, we are really world leaders in innovative payments. And apart from Pay by Links, well, which are innovative but which are not good for MasterCard, especially because we don't pay with cards, but we'll change this as well. But still, it is we are. I don't know if you know that 80% of MasterCard processed PayPass transactions in Europe are taking place in Poland, and we are one of the 3 biggest countries as regards monthly PayPass transactions number. And so this is offline world. This is the physical world, but this shows how far Polish people like innovations and how far they trust such solutions if they come from the bank side or if they come from good let's say side. Then as regards online payments or mobile payments, we can also be very proud from the fact that the majority of e-commerce stores are served with online payments methods. So this is the first question that you normally answer. It's not only pay on delivery, but it's really pay online, which is not the best preferred method for users, but we are all working so that it happens that it's the most preferred way of paying. And then mobile payments, this is something that is already in place as well. We have 130 cities in Poland where you can pay for your ticket or parking using MasterCard Mobile. which means that it's already rolled out. And
So
you
it's
can use
rolled
it.
out, but what is the appetite to actually use it? Is it still at its early stages? And just how are you going to change the consumer behaviour so that they want to use this method?
Yeah, there are two major challenges in Poland. First is that still we have 82% of cash payments in general. It's either pay on delivery or in offline stores. It's still mainly cash, and this is where we are focused. It's not competing between this solution or other solution. And the other thing is that the majority of the Polish product is brought by small companies, small and medium companies. This means that it's not only about big brands that we need to transform to online payments, but we need to bring solutions for smaller merchants, for smaller businesses, to be able to profit from solutions like Allegro, for example, where small merchants are able to connect to a wide horizon of customers. And this is what is really challenging. It's not about introducing only technical solutions, but it's really to bring to startups that we see here, to small companies, bring a very easy and secure method of payments. Because again, easy may be too easy. Paweł mentioned that we are over-regulated, but still, it's true that when you are an owner of a small company, you need to be sure that if you got a message that someone paid for your product, you need to be sure that the money will come to your account. And this is where you are afraid of solutions that are too easy. So,
but it's that changing consumer behaviour. I run a small business and I switched electronic payments 5 years ago, and it took me a while. It took me about a year to come around to it, and I haven't looked back since. And I can't believe that I didn't do it sooner.
Exactly.
So it's that change of consumer behaviour. But you said 82% still cash payments on delivery.
Well, it's 82% of the general retail
General
payments
retail
in cash.
is all.
So e-commerce is, I think, that more or less 50%, right, Maciej? Maybe we would have more data, possibly. That it's around 50%, which is cash pay on delivery.
Yeah.
So
So what can you do then collectively to change that mindset so that electronic payments and mobile payments become more of the norm? Because it sounds like you've got a huge amount of work to do.
I think first of all to cooperate, because at the moment talking even about mobile payments, there is no one standard on the Polish market. As Aleksander said, a lot of transactions have been done using PayPass and this kind of solution, but then comes into the question whether this solution will be the major one in coming years. This is NFC, this is QR codes scanning, these are special PIN codes, face recognition like from States markets, and so on and so on and so on. So then the question is where is the direction that the market will develop, and where is the standard which will be introduced. Like for instance, we do have at the moment in the credit card world, more or less this is standardized and everybody in the world uses the same standards. Talking about mobile payments, it's not the case at the moment. So this is the field to cooperate on.
And Paweł, from your point of view, I mean, that's a huge challenge, isn't it? I mean, that must keep you awake at night.
Yes, I have 2 ideas how to change the world.
Oh, yes.
Of
I'm right, I've got notes. I'm ready to write it down.
First of all, we need the program of financial education in primary schools, which should be driven not only by payment service providers, but by the state.
How realistic is that, though? Because my son, my youngest one, my daughter's at secondary school, my son's at primary school, and the syllabus takes years to change. Maybe it's more enlightened in Poland or the rest of Central Eastern Europe. Is that really possible and practical?
I believe it is possible.
Okay.
And I have a second idea.
Go on. Yes.
Which,
hope it's better than the first one.
which is connected with regulations, of course.
Okay.
We need to force by law usage of non-cash payments. Like in Italy, every transaction that exceeds 1,000 euro, it's still a proposal in Italy. It's not a law in force, but still in Italy.
Well, obviously Italy are very reluctant as well
Yeah.
out of to change from the cash payments, but that might have something to do with the political system, which we won't go into or comment on at this stage. I'd rather keep friends with them than have a lawsuit slapped against me. I don't want Silvia Berlusconi ringing me up personally. Thank you very much. Biggest challenges and limitations then. So it's obviously changing that mindset. Are there any other challenges and limitations out there?
Well, both items I've already mentioned are the most important, I think, because then when it's secure, when it's convenient, you only need to educate that it exists, but you don't need so much to convince that you should use it. It's better. People learn by themselves very well. But the idea to teach young people, especially, that it's more secure to use electronic payment than cash, that it's better to store your money on your banking account instead of your pocket. This is something that is very wise, and some programs of prepaid cards or small debit cards for children are very, very well perceived in certain markets.
But you're surely not going to get banks sponsoring schools, are you? You're not going to take it that far?
Well, maybe not that far.
Well, no. Okay, fine. Any other points on that?
Yeah, maybe I think I have to add something regarding the teaching, because on the Polish market we had one good example where we do not teach people at all, and we do not have the problem with checks, for instance, because it were not so convenient as other forms of payment, for instance, credit cards, payment cards. It was time-consuming, costly in comparison to other ways, and they disappeared during 10 years. So maybe this is also the solution to cooperate as far as costs is concerned, because then people see the benefits not only because of security, because of time to the market, because of other plenty of added value propositions, but also costs. And Polish guys are very keen on that.
Okay. And I suppose to truly encourage cross-border trade, the only way you can go is through electronic and mobile payments. Cross-border trade is not going to happen if you stick to that cash model. Paweł, thoughts on that? You're looking at me strangely.
Well, actually, cross-border trade, how we can encourage? There are several projects like SEPA, Single Europe Payments Area project, which is driven by banks and by European Commission from political side. And this program was launched almost 10 years ago, and the aim was to establish a new infrastructure just for cross-border credit transfers and direct debit. And the new schemes that were designed by market players and implemented a few years ago now are working very efficiently. And the payments through these systems are relatively cheap and indeed encourage cross-border trade. So there is the answer for such a need.
Now, earlier on in the previous panel discussion, we briefly mentioned about Square, which is an electronic payment service provided by Square Inc. and allows users in the United States to basically accept credit cards through their mobile phones, either by swiping the card on the Square device or by manually entering the details on the phone. And in August 2012, so a couple of months ago, Starbucks announced it would be using Square to process transactions with customers who pay via a debit or credit card. And apparently they've invested about $25 million in Square Inc., which sounds like a huge amount of money. Any thoughts on Square? Do you see this as very innovative in the way ahead?
It is innovative, and it's not only about technology, because the technology is not so innovative. Well, to be honest, if you name Square, there are many competitors of Square, and if you take the technology itself, Square was the first, and thus the poorest for example, from the security point of view. But still, their success comes not from the technology itself, but from the model. The model was that they gave the reader, in fact, free of charge to the merchant. And the merchant had a very, very clear business model of how those payments will cost them. Means you don't pay any rental fee for the POS, you don't pay any fixed fee, and when you accept a payment, there is a fixed, percentage provision, but a constant provision per all payments, which is easy to calculate, which is easy to be incorporated into your business model. And this is what we expect for the Polish market to happen as well. It's not to bring the Square as the technology, but to have such a solution for those all merchants who are afraid or who have too small volumes of payments to be able to afford a real reader or virtual POS, which is also a monthly cost that they can't afford.
You get the impression in a way that you're waiting for all the other countries to make some of the mistakes and the learning, the bleeding edge learning, and then coming in and putting the best practice. Is there a sort of a wait and see to see what's going on out there? I'm just trying to think actually NatWest, who are owned by RBS, which is actually a government bank after the banking crisis. And recently they've been advertising their wonderful mobile app. And lo and behold, it's been hacked into and hundreds of pounds of customers' money has been taken out. Now, that money is covered. Nobody's out of pocket, apart from probably consumers in the end having to pay for it through higher banking fees. However, NatWest want to get their money back. But it's really frustrating from a consumer point of view, particularly when I've worked with the entrepreneurs from WorldPay 14 years ago, who came up with this revolutionary idea of online payment system, and you've got an application that is not fit for purpose, and everyone's shouting from the streets about it, and then suddenly it has to be withdrawn. So that consumer revolution, you can think, actually, I'm not going to do mobile payments because I'm not sure if it's completely safe. And they're right to think that to a certain extent.
I think this is not something to do with consumers as such. This is something to do with merchants and how to convince merchants to use this or those solution, because at the moment they heavily invested in POS, including MasterCard, Visa, and other card organization trainings, investments, etc., etc. Then new technology, new solutions comes, and the question is whether these or those will be used. And then for them is the question whether with this or those solution they will get more customers to increase the sale. So this is the fundamental question for implementation of mobile payments, for instance.
But the damage it does, it affects all areas. So the whole industry has to come together. So you can't isolate it and say, just because it's a mobile app for consumer, it has a knock-on effect because people start thinking about the trust side, although nothing is, let's face it, 100% safe. Just be interested to get your thoughts about how can payments become even simpler but more secure? Have we seen some exciting developments that we don't know about at the moment? Can you tell us, MasterCard, their secret plans?
Yeah, of course. I have a small list of all our secret plans.
And 2 ideas.
But yeah, there is, for example, one example that we are going to launch soon is that you can pay within e-commerce only using your mobile number, so you don't need to put your credit card details. They're already registered into secure servers that are under certain regulations, so they are more secure than the ones that you have named already.
Do you still have to put the security code, though, the 3-digit security code into that?
Well, this is a different story.
Okay.
This time it's a card that you can register, but your bank may also enroll you, so you don't need to touch the credit card details at all, or debit card, whatever card. And then you can pay using only your mobile, and you confirm your transaction always on mobile, which is also more secure, because regardless where you perform the transaction, in the internet cafe or wherever, you know that all transactions finally will be confirmed on your own mobile, so it's more secure. And I think these all ideas come to a certain idea of a big wallet, integrated wallet, that you will own as a consumer, that will contain all your payment cards that you want to have or that you were given from your banks. And then you can pay everywhere with the same wallet, regardless if it's a physical store or it's online store or mobile store. And there are ideas not only to build it based on the phone number, but there are some ideas also to be able to retrieve some very secure codes from, for example, your devices, so that we know that if this is your device and this was registered, this is you who use it. So there are many security subjects to be investigated yet. But this is why, for example, MasterCard partnerships with Intel to be able to really be sure that this device, not other device, was hacked or whatever, and this is your device and you use it. But this is science fiction, this is future.
Yeah.
But today you can already use your own mobile number and you can use your mobile to confirm transactions, and this is what we...
Well, it's interesting, that partnership with Intel. Will it have something like a poison pill within it? Because that's quite an exciting development. It's a good idea, isn't it? Write it down.
I will, yeah. No, I think that the idea is to be able to reduce the number of times you need to confirm it's you, but at the same time be able to be 100% or 90% confirm that it is you. So
what I'm talking about, the poison pill, is being able to destroy the information anywhere around the world remotely.
But this is a different story. No, this is a different story.
Fine. Any other innovations that we should look out for?
Yeah, maybe a few words about one project we implemented already, and this is in some modifications we can imagine for the future usage and simplification of payments. This is pay to email. Instead of remembering entire 26 or 20, how much, I don't know, banking number, it's very easy to go into, for instance, our internet banking, all your thing. Then you assign the credit card or your banking account from where you will finance your payments, and then you send the money to the email address of your friend, for instance, or the shop or whatever. And then the beneficiary receives the email with the information that the money is waiting for him, her at the Alior bank. Then it's giving only the account number or the bank, the account number is being kept and the money is there. So maybe this is the solution, and definitely I guess this is the solution for e-commerce, because this is very easy to use. This is only 10 seconds to put amount, purpose, and send.
But when you talk about emails, I still love using emails, but Generation Y are completely different. No instant messaging, Facebook. Is email the answer to that younger,
for Facebook,
new crowd?
We have also the solution on Facebook. You can use the Alior application for the payments and then send the money, putting the amount and then the purpose. I am giving you money for a beer last night, and then the money is immediately on your friend account. So this is already existing.
Okay, very interesting. Do you have a question for the panel? We'll just get your comment in a second. If I can get the lights up a little bit. There's, is a gentleman? Yes, it is. Hello there. Sorry, I couldn't see then. If I can get the microphone to you, if you can say your name and where you're from, that'd be great.
Yes. Hello, I'm Daniel. So I was looking to all your discussions. You have discussed about existing projects, existing problems. So I was still wondering how the online payments are changing the world. And following this idea, if you have to put all your money in one, let's say, direction, not say project, what would be that idea? And the second question, if I may, because we have discussed here about consumer, is about, are the online payments changing the world, or the world is changing the online payments?
Okay. So do we all remember the first question? Do you want to come into it?
Daniel, thank you for this question. Maybe the question was where I should put money. I will put money.
So if you had to put your money behind one project in the future, where would it be, or one innovation?
I would say innovation, it can bring extra risk in some cases, and we've got some examples from British market, for example. But I would invest in security and trust of the end user, the consumer, in our payments, regular methods that we can use. And I think that trust and security of the transaction, this is a common investment that we have to do between all the players on the market.
Let's just answer the first part of the question first. Paweł, what would you want to say?
The question was whether the payments are changing the world.
No, that's the second part of the question. The first part of the question, so what's your money on going forward on the future? If you had to put your money behind, back one idea.
But let me respond for this, because it's very inspiring, if I can, of course. Because in my opinion, the world the world is changing the payment landscape.
So you are answering the second question. Go on then.
Yeah. Okay. In my opinion, every payment product should respond for specific need or specific problem. We can notice a number of new payment initiatives, and those of initiatives that do not respond for any key problem will just fail. So the world is changing the payment, and e-commerce is changing, forcing payment service providers to create new solutions.
Anybody got a different opinion from that? Alexander, would you concur with that?
Well, I agree. It's very difficult to say which one is changing. You know, there is no black or white solutions in the world. In fact, it's both influencing each other's. So we just need to be ready to provide solutions that are easy and they are needed by customers. This is kind of logic.
Okay. And what are you spending your time on? What do you think, if you had to put your whole energy into one direction within this, where would it go? What needs the most attention?
I have two directions or two activities. The first one,
This is a rebellious panel, isn't it?
I was inspired by today's panelists that first of all, I will move all emails from inbox to archive directory. This gives me time to think about new solutions and innovations. And the second one, fully I will invest in people's trust. But not only in area of payment solutions, but also in area of all surroundings related to the payment system. Because if people do not trust that what they will order, they will get. If they will not trust that if they will have some problems with the equipment or goods they will buy, then they can claim and easily change or blame or something like that or get money back, then entire payment system supporting this e-commerce will not fly. So from this perspective, definitely I would invest in the trust in entire area.
What strikes me when you travel around the world is that there are not enough specialist, skilled IT people in mobile banking and in security as well. And maybe some of the reasons why we've seen some high-profile cases, casualties of banks getting it wrong. Is that your impression in Poland? Do you think the Polish market, and let's extend it to other countries within the region, are attracting high-caliber talent and even technician levels? So people across the whole spectrum that's required to really make this industry grow?
Well, for sure, Poland is a country that I can't compare the numbers, but I would say we have very, very skilled professionals in security, in solutions areas. These are people who, well, sometimes they are better or worse in English, but when they discuss their own matters, their domain, they can really discuss with the best brains in Europe or in the world. So we really don't have this the wall has disappeared, and then still it turns out that behind the wall there are specialists all the time.
Well, very lucky as well, because many countries don't have that.
Yeah,
they probably wish they had the same amount of skilled people in this industry. So that's
I think
good
that
to hear.
what we need is still to be able to somehow support these people, because especially young people, they count on events like this, or count on various activities that would support their innovations, their ideas, to be brought to the level where they can earn money, where they can extend their business, and to build something that will finally be their source of living, right? Because
Okay, well, we're nearly at an end. I just want to get one last thought from each of you about online payments changing the world. So just with this collection of people in the room, what would you like them to think about as they leave today and they're thinking back at this wonderful set of panellists, and what insightful comments you've imparted with them? Remember, the discussion was how online payments are changing the world. Paweł.
So I would like to underline my last comment that and to appeal to create new payment solution that will really respond for real problems, and I'm sure there are a lot of new problems that will emerge as e-commerce will be developing.
Robert?
From my perspective, this is what we can bring to the customers as an added value proposition. So to paraphrase what was today said, let's go with the customers for a beer or the cake and talk about their needs and then try to implement and adopt these solutions.
Beer and cake? Are you
Yeah.
serious? Have you had beer and tea and cake?
I do prefer wine.
And Maciej?
Yes, I would say almost the same. We need to follow our customer needs. I can say that we can buy online some goods, even some food, but do not underestimate the micropayments, where we have a number of small payments, and I think that the world is changing the payment landscape, and we need to follow our customer needs.
And final words from you, Aleksander.
Well, if you ask how payments has changed or have changed the world, if you're able to pay online, if you're able to pay instantly for something you buy, this means you will be able to buy something instantly. And this means we bring to people the whole area of doing things when they need it, and not waiting, they don't need to put much effort to find things to buy or services to buy. They can buy them at once when they need it. So it's really bringing convenience, in fact, and bringing usefulness to customers.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed that as an audience. I just want to thank the panellists for being very open and honest with your comments and thoroughly enjoyable. I wish you all the very best going forward in making online payments and mobile payments more sort of 80% rather than cash being 80% going forward. So let's hear it for our fantastic panellists. Thank you, guys.